साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Can you confirm if you can hear me clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very well. So I was telling Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or the Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Devotion is a summary study, or the summarized version of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which was written by none other than Srila Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is the epitome of devotional service, right? He is the leader in the Shat Goshai, in the six Goswamis, are the best devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who else other than Sri Rupa Goswami can write such a beautiful text of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or the mellow of devotional service, the mellows of devotional service? So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was written by Rupa Goswami, and he has divided into four parts: Eastern Division, Southern Division, Western Division, and Northern Division. So East, South, West, and North. So he divided these into four parts. And the book we are talking, Nectar of Devotion, covers the first part. Basically, it's from the first part of Eastern Division. Okay. In Eastern Division, there are four, each division has four waves. Okay. First wave, second wave, third wave, and fourth wave. And the Nectar of Devotion talks about basically the Eastern Division first part. So you might have heard about this in the introduction classes, but I just want to give a summary here. So what does that Eastern Division talk about? Eastern Division talks about four parts, which is Samanya Bhakti. There are four parts of Bhakti, four types of Bhakti. But in general, the first part, which the Nectar of Devotion covers all types of Bhakti also. If we go to the detail later in the 238th verse and around 300th verse, we get to see different types of Bhakti and all the different flavors of Bhakti and other details. But to begin with, today, the best part is we have started it. We have heard the introduction of Srila Prabhupada, and now we are entering into the chapter 1 of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion of Srila Prabhupada. In the first part or first chapter, Srila Prabhupada starts this chapter. There are beautiful verses in the previous chapters in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Srila Prabhupada has covered that in the form of introduction. So we don't have to go to them. But the first chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada starts with characteristics of devotional service, or characteristics of bhakti. What are the characteristics of bhakti? If we want to practice something, we need to know what are the characteristics, what do they belong to, what are we entering into, what would I get from that, right? What is the prayojana of doing that? So that's why Prabhupada is giving the characteristics of devotional service, and Srila Rupa Goswami also written in the same process, in the procedure. So characteristics of devotional service, there are 6 characteristics. Okay. 6 of them I want to share, maybe. No, okay, I can read. So the verse is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Eastern Division, Part 1, verse 17. Okay, the characteristics of Bhakti starts from verse 17. The previous verses are covered in the introduction, so we don't want to go into that. So the verse is Kleshagni Shubhada Moksha Laguta Krit Sudurlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa. A beautiful verse. There are 6 characteristics of devotional service. What are those 6 characteristics? Kleshagni, Shubhadha, Moksha Lagutha Akrit, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akarshani. 6 of them. Okay, Sri Krishna Akarshani. So in this session or this evening, I will try to cover the first 3 of them. Okay, in the tomorrow's that was the instruction I got. So from next class, the other devotees can cover the remaining 3 of them. Okay, so in this section, we're going to talk about the first 3 characteristics. So what are the 6 characteristics? Kleshagni. What is Kleshagni? Means relief from material distress. All the material distress will be relieved by practicing bhakti. Okay. What is Shubhadha? The one who practices the bhakti, they will get all auspiciousness. Shubha means auspiciousness. Everything will become Mangalmay. In Hindi, they call it as Mangalmay, right? Mangal means it's auspicious. It becomes pure. It becomes good. Everything will become like falling into place, right? Auspicious. That is Shubhada. The third one is Moksha Laguta Krita. Moksha means liberation. We all know about that. Liberation. There are, and in the introduction, you might have heard about there are different types of liberation. And the third characteristic is Moksha Laguta Krita, means the liberation will become very small. The liberation which each and every yogi, they aspire for, they perform tremendous austerities. They perform thousands of years of sitting alone, aloof, putting themselves into different austerities. They fast, they do vratas, they do many things to achieve the liberation. But following bhakti, that moksha or that liberation or that aspiration for the liberation become lagutha, lagu. There are 2, lagu means small, guru means big, right? That liberation, that aspiration for the liberation will become laguta krita. It makes that aspiration to become liberated will it'll make it small. It makes it petty. Like, what is that? Do you really want it? That kind of feeling that bhakti will create. That is because bhakti, we'll see why and how and examples also, but I'm just giving. So this bhakti can, bhakti can make you think the desire or the aspiration for the liberation to be small or petty. Okay, moksha laguta krita. That is third one. Fourth one is sudurlabha. This bhakti is rarely achieved, my friends. It's not easy, my dear devotees. It's not easy to get bhakti. We are listening to this class today with some kind of if we are listening to this class today, meaning we have performed tremendous amount of austerities sometime before in previous lives. We were very fortunate to get in touch with the devotee, or some kind of fortune thing we have done. That's why we are here in this class today and listening to this bhakti, a lesson about bhakti, or a lecture about bhakti, or a class about bhakti. It's because we have done something great, something tremendously big, magnificent work before. That's why we're here today. So this bhakti is not easy. That is the fourth one. The characteristic of bhakti is it's not easy. Sudurlabha. Durlabha means not achievable, not easy. Sudurlabha means very, like it's stressing on it. It's not easy. Okay, that's the fourth characteristics of bhakti. Fifth one is Sandrananda Visheshatma. Ananda means you get bliss. Okay. Sandrananda means it's like a, see, I went to my god brother's house in Radhakund in this trip. He made, he has cows. He lives in Radhakund, has cows, and he made a kheer. Okay. See, the milk itself is so tasty because he has gir cows, and he milled the cows freshly, and he brought that milk. The milk itself is very delicious actually. But what he did was he took that milk and he boiled it for 4 hours, and he added figs in that, fresh figs. It was so tasty, so I don't know how to explain the taste. So that is Sandrananda. Ananda is bliss. It's already happy, it's already delicious. But Sandrananda means extraordinarily delicious. It makes bhakti makes you the extraordinarily happy. Visheshatma. It's Vishesha. It's unexplainably pleasurable. The bhakti. That's why if you see, there are so many devotees that they give up their lives. They just give up their lives only for bhakti. If like Mirabai, she was a princess. Why would she leave or quit her life just for bhakti? Dhruva Maharaj, after seeing Lord Vishnu, he was saying that what I was looking for was like a broken pieces of glass. My Lord, the desire I carried, that I want to become I want to have the greater kingdom than my great grandfather. That desire itself looks like a broken piece of glass in front of a diamond like you. So that is the bhakti, that transformation. When you get that, when you touch that, when you get that taste of that bhakti, you lose everything in this world looks like a small and petty. Okay, someone, Pankaj Prabhu, can you please mute? Okay. Okay. So that the taste of that bhakti will become so pleasurable. Okay, so that's Sandrananda, which is automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. It is transcendental pleasure because you cannot explain the taste. So that's what Sandrananda Vishaya Atma, that's fifth characteristic. And the sixth one is Sri Krishna Akarshani. Do you understand? Sri Krishna Akarshani. Sri Krishna Akarshani means the whole universe is looking forward to get the attention of the God, but this bhakti can elevate you to that position where Krishna gets attracted to you automatically. So that is Sri Krishna Akarshana, sixth characteristics of bhakti. It really gets the attention of the Lord towards the devotee. Okay, there are so many examples. We don't want to talk about it now because tomorrow the viewers will cover that. But today we will cover let's revise the six characteristics and go in detail about the first three of them. Okay, the first one is Kleshagni. Kleshagni is relief from material distress, right? Shubhadha, it is all auspicious, right? You get attains, the devotees will attain auspiciousness. It gives auspiciousness. Okay. And the third one is moksha laguta krita, means it makes the aspiration, it makes the liberation looks like very small desire. It's what kind of a desire is that? That's what you feel. And sudhurlabha means it's very rare. It's extremely rare. It's not easy to attain. Okay. And Sandrananda Visheshatma, extraordinarily pleasurable bhakti. As I said, if you touch that, or if you get the taste of that bhakti, devotees will just delve deep into it. They can't get out of it. So that bhakti can create. And the last one and the important one is Sri Krishna Akarshani. So it attracts the Lord himself. Okay. So now let's start with Kleshagni. Kleshagni is the first characteristics of bhakti. So what is Kleshagni? Klesha means distress or the miseries, right? Klesha is distress or a misery that we go through in the material world. So Agni, basically this distress will be burned away. The distress will be burned away into ashes, meaning when you start practicing bhakti, the kleshagni happens. Basically, the distresses will go away. You don't have to chase, and you don't have to request the Lord, or you don't have to go do so many other things to get your distress go away. Distress can be eliminated just by practicing bhakti. So distress, what is the reason for distress? Srila Rupa Goswami mentions, and also we can refer to the Narada Pancharatra also. So the klesha is distress and Agni is burn away. So what is the reason for distress? The reason for distress is three things. Okay. So what are those three things? Papam, Bijam, and Avidya. Okay. So what is Papam? Papam means sinful activity. So devotees, we're talking about 6 characteristics of bhakti, out of which the first one is Kleshagni. In the Kleshagni, we're trying to understand what is Kleshagni. Kleshagni is nothing but a remover, or the bhakti can remove or burn away the klesha, or the distress, or the misery from a devotee. Okay. Now we're trying to understand how the klesha comes. What is klesha? What is the reason for klesha? Okay. Please follow me, because it's gonna go deep and deep. That's why you have to be connected with me, listening to me. And if you have any question, we can talk later. But please listen to me, and keep listening to me. If you have any question, just stop. Or if you miss out any point, because we're gonna go deep into layers now, so you can stop me at any point and ask me a question. Okay. So um, bhakti can remove the klesha. So what is the klesha? What is the reason for klesha? The reason for klesha is three things. There are three reasons for klesha. The first one is papam. Papam is a tendency to make a sinful reaction, or sinful activity. Papam means sinful activity. Okay. And the papam is of two types. You understand? Papam is of two types. Aprarabdha papam and prarabdha papam. Okay. Aprarabdha papam is the papam which is in the works, that is inside. It's not at there, but it will come pretty soon. So that is aprarabdha papam. Okay.
What's happening, my baby?
Okay. So aprarabdha papam is of two types. The papam is of two types, aprarabdha and prarabdha. Aprarabdha means immature. It's the sinful reaction for that papa is not matured. Okay. So that's immature sinful activities stored within us, for which we have not yet suffered. And prarabdha is a mature sinful activity for which we suffer in present. Okay. So what is let's talk about prarabdha, then we'll come back to aprarabdha. So prarabdha means the material or sinful reactions which we are activities which are suffering in present for. Right. For example, if a person is born in uh, a poor family, okay, does that mean like there are some rich a child is born in a poverty, and a poverty stricken family. A child is born in a full affluent family. So what is the different? What is the mistake of that child? Everyone in this world, they complain that God is partial. Uh, God doesn't take care of me. God is not fair to me. Those are the complaints we all say to the Lord, right? So now the question is like, is God really partial to someone? No. It's all our papa karmas, or the papas which we have done, the sinful actions which we have performed, that will give us a body, right? According to our population. If you have performed uh, pious deeds in your previous lives, in your previous life, you'll come with piety, like with some affluence. Like if just to quote an example, there are many rich people. We have rich people everywhere, and a child born in that family will eventually, most probably, or most of the times, will have a chance to enjoy those riches, right? Because he's born in that with in that opulent family. So um, and if a child born in the poor family or poverty stricken family has to suffer some consequences of being there, because they have performed such activities in the previous lives. Okay. According to their previous activities, they are experiencing the miseries in this material miseries, or whatever they have done, like all the reactions for their activities, they're experiencing it now. So that is prarabdha. That means currently what we're like, some people are
Hare Krishna, Babu.
yes.
Prabhu, I have question here.
Yes,
You
Prabhu.
you told that I can stop here.
Yes, yes,
Question
yes.
here. So I have I have a doubt here. You can clarify also.
Mhm.
But always the poverty stricken family is not the because of the papa? Is it for that? But it's a poor Brahman family is a pure devotee. There some child born. His poverty is taken, but he's a fortunate also.
Yes, Prabhuji. So um, the class what I'm giving now is just on what I'm giving to distinction. Sorry, the distinction I'm giving here is on a broader level, right? From the top level. Like I'm just trying to give black and white picture here, but it's not always black and white. Okay, there are many shades of colors here. Okay, so even though the child is born in a poverty stricken family, he may be fortunate because he have done some other kind of good activities which has to enjoy now. You know what I mean? In the form of a Brahmin family, enjoy in the sense like he may be poor, like Sudama Vipra. He was poor, but doesn't mean that he doesn't have a bhakti. You know what I mean? He was a pure devotee of the Lord. So that's a good question. But what I'm trying to say here is on a 10,000 feet level, where where I'm giving a broader distinction of black and white picture. Okay. So if you go deeper, yes, there are many variations. Okay, there are some poor. There are poor, but they're happy in their village, right? You know, with all the appliances what they have from the village. They may be eating only once a day, but they're happy. So it's all different flavors, probably. It's not one. It's not black and white. But I'm just for the understanding of this class, I'm giving the broader level. Does it
Oh,
make sense?
sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
No problem. So that is prarabdha. Prarabdha means whatever we are enjoying in this present condition is prarabdha. Okay. Now what is a prarabdha? So a prarabdha is something which will happen in the future. That's see the sinful reactions what we have sinful actions what we have performed in the previous lives. There's so much so that they if they all come together at once, we can't survive. Now we can't do anything. So they come in like installments. That's what they call it, right? In the contemporary word is installments. You get your reaction in installments. Okay, so that is what it is. So that you are experiencing some kind of distress and misery in whatever the condition you were born with at the current stage. But in future also you may get you will get distress in future also. You get distress. Okay, so yeah, I had a good example. I forgot. Okay. Um, yeah, we'll talk about example later. But okay, so that is papam. Okay, papam is of two types, prarabdha and aprarabdha. And this kleshagni or the desire. So what we're saying is, okay, let me recap. So we are talking about the first characteristics of bhakti. The first characteristics of bhakti is kleshagni. Kleshagni means bhakti can remove the distress of this world. And distress, okay, the distress is caused by three things: papam, bijam, and avidya. We in the distress, in the reasons of distress, papam, we talked about two types of distress. Two types of papam. What is prarabdha papam, aprarabdha papam? So there is a verse which says that, I'll quote this verse, okay, from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 14th chapter, 19th verse. Krishna is saying to Uddhava, Yatagnesu समृद्धेरचि करोति यधांसि भस्मसात् तथा मद्विषया भक्तिर उद्धवै नामसि कृत्स्नशः. Okay, so my dear Uddhava, just as a blazing fire turns firewood into ashes, similarly devotion unto me completely burns to ashes sins committed by my devotees. So Krishna is telling to Uddhava that any sins performed by devotees will be devotion or devotional service will take or eradicate all those or burns away those sins into ashes. That is Krishna's words. Okay, and Devahuti is telling to Kapila in the 3rd canto, 33rd chapter, 6th verse. She's telling to say nothing of spiritual advancement of persons who see the supreme person face to face. So she's telling that forget about the person who sees the supreme Lord person face to face, supreme Lord face to face. But even a person born in a family of dog eaters or chandala, immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. So Mother Devahuti is also expressing her realization that if a Chandala is the worst case of a person, humankind basically, right? If a Chandala can remember or chant or listen or whatever, she quoted multiple things, right? Once utters the holy name of the Lord, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, even remembers him, this Chandala can also become a person who can perform the Vedic sacrifices. That's what we're seeing in this world now, right? Srila Prabhupada came to America and he has transformed multiple people, meat eaters, cow eaters, beef eaters, everyone. And he gave the name of the Lord, and they're all Brahmins. They're talking about Bhagavatam and Srimad. I mean, we're all same, we're on the same platform, right? We were all in that boat at some point of time with Krishna's mercy, with Srila Prabhupada's mercy. We came to this bhakti, we are attached, and that's why we're listening to this today, and we're talking about the bhakti today. So that is the transformation a bhakti can do. Okay. So a Chandala's life is distressful, okay, because no one will allow him to be near because he smells, he stinks. There are many things. So what I'm trying to say here is that these two verses says that the bhakti or the devotion has so much potency that it can basically, if a Chandala is transformed into a person who can perform the Vedic sacrifices, meaning that his prarabdha papam has been removed or eradicated, right? His prarabdha was supposed to be a Chandala. He's supposed to be a beggar, or he's supposed to be a dog eater. But his prarabdha, or the life he was born with, has been transformed because of bhakti, and that is the potency of bhakti we're talking today. Okay, so that is prarabdha and aprarabdha bhakti. And there is another verse from Narada Pancharatra, that's what I was telling. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalanmukham krameneva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So it says that the papam, the reason for papam is multiple things. Okay, first one is avidya. So avidya and all those things. From avidya comes. I had presented that a long time back, and in a PowerPoint presentation. So basically, there is avidya, and from avidya comes sinful desire, that is bija. So that's what we're gonna talk next. Okay, bija, and bija comes papam. So desire comes, and desire to sin will come, and from the desire, what you do is like you perform that papam, you perform that sinful action. Okay, from that sinful action, there are two things which can happen. The sinful action is of two types: aprarabdha and prarabdha. And from aprarabdha, again, it stores back. Basically you have that aprarabdha is like it's something which is supposed to come later. The example is that, let's say there is a drunkard. He has taken alcohol. Okay, he drunk, I don't know the names, wine or whatever. So he took the alcohol, he drank nicely, and too much of alcohol. Now what happens? I have seen in my engineering college, like children, like they used to drink, and after that they have the dizziness, they do vomit, and they go for what the word is, hangover, right? Hangover or hangout. Okay, hangover, I think hangover. And that is prarabdha. They perform the sinful action of drinking the alcohol, and they get the prarabdha papa. Basically they're experiencing the distress in the form of dizziness, in the form of headache, in the form of hangover, right? Now if this continues, what happens is, like, at the back something is in the pot which is boiling, that is aprarabdha. What is that? He may get into serious severe liver damage and other kind of diseases. He may get affected. So that is a prarabdha, which is not yet there, but it will come in the future. But it's a result of papam. The papam, sinful action you perform, and the papam is divided into two parts, prarabdha and aprarabdha. Okay, the prarabdha is like you're experiencing currently, and aprarabdha is like which will come in the future. The example we saw is like alcoholic. He drank. He's experiencing all these symptoms of drinking, all these results of drinking. Like he's vomiting, he's having headache and hangover. But eventually, in later stage, he'll get that develops into liver cirrhosis and that kind of diseases. Okay, that is aprarabdha. So that is still at the back. Okay, this aprarabdha we will also have another, it can also transform into, because it's a prarabdha, it's not even happening, but still there it's boiling at the end, it results into kutam. Kutam means which is the sin, which will push that individual or the living entity to perform the sinful activity. Kutam is proclivity, sinful proclivity. It gives the tendency to perform that activity. Now what I mean, it's not a desire, but tendency to perform this, because you are experiencing, the drunkard had drinking, and so he may have that proclivity to, okay, let me drink again, that proclivity to that sinful action, like let me drink again, let me experience it again. It was assuming that it was good, he may be feeling good, and he wants to do it again. So that doing it again, that proclivity or the tendency to perform that sin again is called as kutam, and he goes back to that. Okay, to that proclivity, and proclivity will give when the proclivity, the tendency to perform that sin comes in, then the desire develops. Okay, let me do it again. So that is bijam. Okay, now let me recap because I have to recap multiple times here. Okay, so characteristics of bhakti, 6 characteristics. First one is kleshagni. The kleshagni is distress remover. Bhakti can remove the distress, and we are thinking the reason we are talking about the reasons of distress. The first reason is papam, and we understood that papam is of two types, prarabdha and aprarabdha. And we understood an example that prarabdha from the alcoholic, that prarabdha is something which we are experiencing currently in the form of vomiting or headache or something. A prarabdha is something which will come later part, maybe in the form of liver cirrhosis or some damage or some kind of disease. Okay, that is papam. Now bijam is sinful desire. So the distress can come from the sinful desire also. So as I talked about that cycle of distress, I talked about. So the second one is bijam and third one is avidya, ignorance. Okay, so let me talk about the cycle of this distress. And in the cycle of distress, we'll see how these three things are working together. Okay, the cycle of distress is the first one is avidya, ignorance. If a person is ignorance, right, let's say for example, if the person is in ignorance, he doesn't know, so he gets a tendency, he develops a desire to perform a sinful activity. So that is bija. Okay, developing a desire is bija. Okay, when he develops a desire to perform a sinful activity, he performs that sinful activity. That is papam. Okay, and that papam is of two types, prarabdha and aprarabdha. And the aprarabdha can leads to the kutam. Kutam is basically sinful proclivity, because that aprarabdha is still there, because you haven't completely removed the papa because you haven't completely eradicated the sinful reaction, because the reactions, as I said, it comes in installments. The reaction is still there, that the things which you have to experience more distress is still there. So due to the distress, due to that thing, the kutam will happen, the proclivity to perform more will still be there. So you have a proclivity, or you have tendency, or if you have an affinity to perform that papam, sinful proclivity, you perform that sin again. So that's from that proclivity you develop a bija again. So it's a cycle basically. So from the ignorance starts a desire to perform sinful activity. From the desire, you do the sinful activity. From the sinful activity, you get the results of prarabdha and aprarabdha. From aprarabdha, you get again a proclivity or tendency or affinity to perform the sin. Then the sin, because you have proclivity, you do again a bija, a desire develops. So we started from desire and we are ending with desire. Okay. Desire results to sinful action. Sinful actions will give the reactions. From the reactions which are not performed or which are not already completed, you get a proclivity, a tendency, or affinity to perform the sin again. Then again, that performing the by performing with that tendency, the desire again develops. So basically, it's a cycle. Desire, you perform action, you perform reaction. You experience the reaction. From the reaction, again there is a proclivity, a tendency to perform action. Then you get that you develop the desire, and then the action is performed. So this is a big cycle. So whenever Krishna says, whenever the devotees say that, please get out of this bhavasagara. Get out of this bhavasagara means, bhava means this material world, right? This is ocean. Is it easy to come out of the ocean? Let's say someone is drowning in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean. Is it easy to get out of that? No. Sometimes the waves can bring him up, he may go down. Bring him up, go down, bring him up, go down, bring him up, go down. So similarly, a living entity who has taken birth in this material world is in the same position, in the similar position where he's taking birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. So this is a cycle. Why this cycle is happening? Because there is no end for this distress cycle, right? Because the sinful cycle, sinful life. You sin, you desire a sin, you perform the sin, then after that, you experience a reaction, and then from that reactions, you get a tendency, or you develop a tendency to perform the action, to perform the sin again. Then the desire will grow again to perform the sin. Then the desire will result in the action. Then you go to reaction. Right? Action, reaction, desire, action, reaction, desire, action, reaction. So this is a cycle which is happening. So this cycle is very hard to come out. Okay. So now the question is like, what is the solution for this? The solution is Kleshagni. Bhakti can give that Kleshagni. Okay. Let's say, for example, elephant, Srila Prabhupada mentions that in there. The elephant can go to the river. He takes care, he nicely takes shower, beautiful. He becomes fresh and nice and neat and everything, enjoys in the water. He comes out of the waters and takes rolls on the mud and the banks of the river. Do you understand? He cleaned everything, but he comes back and he rolls on the banks of the river. So what is the use of that bath? That is what is happening. You know what I mean? So you devotees, living entity performs the action, but he comes back and rolls. So basically, like living entities, they have sinful actions. So they perform all the austerities, they perform so many vratas, so many good things, pious things, donations, these, that, everything they do. But what is not going? The thing which is not going is bija. Bija, the desire, the desire to sin will never go. Okay, so the prarabdha, you change all of them, but the bija, the desire to take that out is very hard. And that bija, or the desire to sin, can only be performed or can only be cleared with the help of bhakti. Right? That's what Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions, right? Cheto darpana marjanam. So that desire, that clarity, that cleaning of that heart, the cleaning of the images, the cleaning of the dust that is occupied or covered the heart, the real you, the real soul, the real being can be removed only with bhakti. The Harinama can penetrate through the deep-rooted covering, and it enters into the living entity's soul. So that is the potency of bhakti. So that is Kleshagni. Right? So yeah, there are many verses to explain about that bhakti, and yeah, I'm trying to see what else I can cover in Kleshagni. Did you understand what we have discussed so far? Any points to bring up? Okay, so one question I have here is, for all of you. Anyone can answer this. So we understand this is a cycle, and avidya, everything started from avidya. Avidya means ignorance. So what is the solution, or what is the, if a living entity is going through this cycle of sinful reactions and actions, right? It's a repetitive cycle. How would he come out of it? What is the blocking point? What is the stop point? Who will cut that stop? Or who will stop that cycle? Because to get out, to take bhakti also, you should cut it, right? How do you get it? Can someone think about?
So chanting the holy name.
That's right. But how can he do the chanting of holy name? He's a sinful, like, a living entity is very sinful. If a sinful person, as I told you, Prabhuji, that in the beginning of the class, that we are here today listening to this class because we have performed a tremendous amount of activity, pious activity before lives. That's why we are able to listen to this class today. So for performing that kind of millions of years of bhakti, there must be some starting point, right? And what is that starting point? How can someone get out of this?
Mercy.
Now, mercy means Prabhu, saintly persons association and mercy. That is
Very,
correct.
very nice. Yeah, good. Madhuri Mataji, right? Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, mercy. Mercy is what we always depend upon. It is what. So we are fortunate enough that, I mean, most of us, we go to temple, we are attending this class, we go to we get devotional service, or we get to partake in many multiple activities of the temple, right? Taking the darshan of the deities, charnamrut, prasadam, book distribution, classes, everything, garland seva, this seva, that seva, every seva we get to do, right? But we take it very light. Do you think it's possible for everyone? No, not easy. We perform Rath Yatras, right? When we perform Rath Yatra, anyone who sees, there is a verse, actually, it says that anyone who sees the Lord, or anyone who partakes in any kind of seva, like, they get the mercy of the Lord. Okay, that's why, what is the reason for us to like, for devotees to perform the or to pull the ratha in front of in the Atlantic City, the city of gambling? Why we have to do the Rath Yatra there? What's our need? We can easily do it in the Oaktree Road. We do it, but we can do it every day because it's conducive place. It's good for us. Because we perform Rath Yatra in Atlantic City because just by seeing the Lord by mistake, they have no interest in the Lord. No people, like, they don't even know who is Krishna. They don't, like, forget about Krishna. They don't even know who is who, right? Now, forget about Jagannath, right? They don't even know who is Krishna. So what to talk about Jagannath? Who is this big guy, with big eyes and black guy and white guy? What are they doing? So that's the reaction they may have, but eventually they're getting mercy. So that mercy, we throw so much of prasadam while eating in the Sunday feast, right? That one grain of prasadam to a non-devotee is so precious, that can bring back him into, that can break the chains of these reactions and bring them back into devotion. Do you understand the importance here? That's very, very important. Please, it looks trivial, but try to understand this point, that we are given that opportunity. We are very fortunate to get into this opportunity. We eat prasadam, we talk to devotees, we see the deities. All these are the causes of mercy. They can transform one's life. Book distribution. I came to a book distribution. Someone for centennial of Prabhupada's appearance, they were distributing books, right? Somehow my father, we were generally Hindus, right now. And that book came to my father. He liked Bhagavad Gita, so he brought Bhagavad Gita. And that Bhagavad Gita was laying in the home. No one was watching it. Like, laying in the home in the sense, like, we venerate Bhagavad Gita. We don't read Bhagavad Gita, but we put it in the altar, and now we pray to Bhagavad Gita, but never opened a page and read through the Bhagavad Gita. So that one entrance of Srila Prabhupada's book, this is not my own story. I mean, my only story. Many devotees have the same experience. Okay, one book of Srila Prabhupada can transform the lives of the living entities in this material world, and this is a guarantee because I have seen it, I have experienced it. That's why I'm guaranteeing it. So what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, I mean, I just remember this word that, books of Srila Prabhupada are time bombs. They're just waiting for the time to explode. Once they explode, everyone is like a devotee, transform the whole family into devotees. So that is another example. Prashadam is another example. Rath Yatras are another examples. All these are mercies. Like devotees are very merciful. They give out, like the cookies we distribute in Rath Yatras, the cookies we distribute, the books we distribute throughout the year. These are all mercy we are giving it to the devotees. So that mercy, the potency of that mercy is that it can break the unchangeable chain, like this reaction chain, it's action reaction chain of sinful activities. That can break it, that can break, and that the devotee can transform or get out of that. That's a potency of mercy. Okay, that's one point I want to mention. So dear devotees, just to go back, there are 6 characteristics of bhakti. The first one we covered is kleshagni, and we'll go into the second one. Okay, the second characteristics of bhakti is shubhadha. Shubhadha means it brings all auspiciousness. It brings all auspiciousness to the lives of the living entity. Bhakti can bring all auspiciousness. You don't have to look for everywhere. And Srila Rupa Goswami explains this auspiciousness, or divides this auspiciousness into 3 parts. Okay. The aspects of auspiciousness. The first one is Jagat Pritanand, Jagat Pritanand, Pritana Adidvapa, Dvaya Pradatvam. Pritanadi Dvaya Pradatvam. Okay, so that means possessing love for all entities and becoming the object of affection for all living entities. That is first auspiciousness. Okay, what is that? Possessing love for all living entities and becoming the object of affection for all living entities. The second one is Sadgunadi Pradatvam. Sadgunadi Pradatvam. Possessing all good qualities. That is second auspiciousness. And the third category is Shuka Pradatvam, means you get possessing happiness and contented. Okay, there are Srila Rupa Goswami divides this into three parts, 3 types of auspiciousness. The first one is the one who is possessing love for all living entities and becoming object of affection for all living entities. There was a king called Rantideva. Okay, this king is a very sober king. He is a devotee of Lord Vishnu. He was praying to Lord Vishnu, worshipping Lord Vishnu on a daily basis. Once there was this demigods, they all got together and they went to Vishnu to find out who is the best devotee. Then Lord Vishnu, he said that Rantideva is my devotee, is the best devotee. Right? So Rantideva is the best devotee. Rantideva is just a small little king. They were thinking that they're all demigods. How come a human being will be the best devotee of Lord Vishnu? Then they wanted to test him or examine the why Lord Vishnu is saying Rantideva is his devotee. So they want to test him. They created a famine in his kingdom. There was no food. There was not even a drop of water to drink to the citizens of his kingdom. Rantideva opened his khajana, what do you call it, treasury. He opened the treasury and he said that he distributed everything, even his kingdom, his bed, his all material he distributed to the citizens of his kingdom. But how long it will run? I mean, they could not survive. Everything was gone. There was nothing left. There was no food to eat. But still, there was nothing, like he gave everything, but nothing was stopping the famine. Famine was so severe that everyone was hungry. King gave everything, including his food. His family, everyone was hungry. He was hungry. He was hungry for 48 days because he never had food. There was no food in his kingdom. So these demigods, they transform themselves into different, like once he found a kheer, basically samanvaya. There is a beautiful word in Sanskrit. The basically it's a kheer made up of ghee and milk and rice. So he found a plate of ghee rice and a water. Somehow someone gave it to him because they saw the condition of the king, and they gave that to him, to the king. And the king was about to eat after 48 days of hunger. He was not eaten anything, not even drank water, right? And after that, he got the platter of food, and he was about to eat the first morsel of the food. A brahmana came, and he came to the king and said, "King, I didn't eat for some days, can you please give me the food?" So King Rantideva, at that stage, after 48 days of hunger, he took a part of the food what he has gotten, and he gave that to Brahmana. Brahmana was happy. He ate and went away. Then a Shudra came. Vaishya came. So he gave that to Vaishya, another part. Then the Shudra came, same thing he gave. And the Chandala with the dogs he came, and he gave the last portion, what was left, to the Chandala also. And finally, he saw the pitiable situation of the dogs, and he gave the remaining water, whatever the water he had, he donated, or he gave that water to the dogs, right? So this person, he's so dear to Vishnu, and finally he remembered Lord Vishnu, and he said that if this is what you wanted, let it be. And he just prayed to Lord Vishnu and stayed quiet. That's when they got to know what kind of a person. That's why he's a dear devotee of the Lord. That's why Vishnu said, they understood, like demigods understood, that Rantideva is dear devotee to Lord Vishnu because he's so giving. He's giving to the, at least he could have drank that water. No, he gave that water to the dogs also. In that situation, right? We give like $5, $10 donation when we think that we have done so much of work or so much of donation. So, but he look at the devotees, the real devotees of the Lord. They don't care for themselves. They want to give. They're in the giving mood. So that is Antideva. What I'm trying to say here is that he's very, a devotee basically gets that pleasure in giving. And this is Jagat Pranada Dvapaya Pradatvam. Basically, I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but yeah, processing love for all entities, all entities, and becoming the object of affection for all living entities. So he's very dear, and he takes care of the animals also. So he gave his water to the dogs also. That's why I gave this example. So that is the auspiciousness it brings in. That kind of quality is developed by following bhakti. Okay, that is the first part. And the second type of auspiciousness is possessing all good qualities. You possess all good qualities which will attract the other living beings. Okay, so that is possessing all good qualities, sadgunadi pradatvam. And the third category is sukha pradatvam, basically possessing happiness and contented. You're happy, right? As I said, as we talked, Sudhama, in that condition also, he was very happy. He was contented. Krishna, this is what you want me to, let it be. Always dependent upon Krishna. No more queries, no more desires, no more hankering for the things which are not meant for them. So this auspiciousness, this mangalamai, it becomes, this bhakti can bring mangalmayness. Okay, so yeah, the other verses, I'm not going through these verses. Okay, so there are three types of happiness. Yeah, Vaishayika Shuka, Brahma Shuka, Aishwarya Shuka. So the three types of happiness is like derived from material enjoyment. The first one is derived from material enjoyment, derived from identifying oneself with the supreme Brahman. It's like liberation, right? And the third one is derived from Krishna consciousness. So there are many points. All are attainable by devotional service. All these are attainable services. So in Tantra Shastra, Lord Shiva is saying to Sati Devi, what is he saying? My dear wife, A person who has surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Govinda and who has thus developed pure Krishna consciousness can be very easily awarded all perfections desired by the impersonalists. And beyond this, he can enjoy the happiness achieved by the pure devotees. So if a devotee is there, all the happinesses are already covered. All of them come as a package. That's the Shubhada is come as a package and it's already there. Okay. The highest happiness is basically from nectar of devotion. Is happiness derived from pure devotion service is the highest because it's eternal. So there is no all other happinesses what we see, like getting $1 million and having it Rivian cars and all these things is just a happiness which is temporary and material. And but the real happiness is eternal. The eternal happiness is performing the devotional service, or happiness derived from the pure devotional service. Okay. Then there are liberations, right? Liberation, like there are so many yogis who perform liberation. They have all these different types of they get liberation, and they perform so much of austerities that they know how to become small, how to become big, all this, right? Anima, mahima, lagima, prapti, prakamya, ishita, siddhi, they appear, they disappear, they grow big, they grow small. Kamya, vishita, they can make someone bring into their control and all those things. So all those things are not necessary, and that is one other type of mystic perfections. Yeah, the example here given is Kolavicha Sridhara. Kolavicha Sridhara is a very poor a boy in Navadvip Dham, where he used to sell bananas. And we remember the story, right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches him, and Kolavicha Sridhara was selling already low price. He is not he's not behind the money. He's just collecting the money to feed him and his family. I think to feed himself, but that's why he was not collecting a lot of money for whatever he's selling. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teases him, asking for more less money, and he attracted the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is he was happy, he was contented. So that is the example of Shubhada, right? You get all auspiciousness, you get contented, you'll be all happy. And the last one, the third point is moksha laguta kritu. Moksha laguta kritu. I told you that the aspiration for the liberation will look very small. You feel like, really, did I ask for it? Was I really, there are so many yogis, as I said in the beginning of the class. There are so many people, so many yogis. They perform austerities for thousands of years, right? In Satya Yuga, that is the mode of perfection where they performed austerities to become to get into liberation, moksha prapti, to get liberated. To get liberated, they used to perform all these austerities. But by performing bhakti, you look at it as very small. It's tiny, tiny desire. Any person who develops, Narada Pancharatra says, any person who has developed even a small amount of devotional service doesn't care a fig for any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, or 5 kinds of liberation, right? 5 kinds of liberation also, he'll not care for it, because that's not what he wants. What does a devotee want? A devotee wants to serve the Lord. That is the natural position of a living entity. The natural duty, or the nature, if the nature of sugar is to be sweet, the nature of ocean water is to be salty, the nature of a living entity is to serve. That's the nature. So going beyond the nature, you become anything, you'll not be satisfied, right? You'll not have that satisfaction. So the devotee will aspire to serve the Lord, serve the Lord's devotees, serve the gurus, mahajanas. That is the aspiration what devotees look for, not the aspiration for liberation. So when you get to that level, when you get to that prema bhakti, we'll see the differences later, right? We'll see the bhakti lata beej and the lata growing and all those things in the later verses. But what I'm trying to say here is that when you go to that highest level of prema bhakti, then all these things, they look trivial. Liberation, aspiring for becoming a demigod or aspiring to become a Brahma, the demigod of the whole universes. All these things will become trivial. Okay. And the second proof they're saying is, as the personal attendants and maid servants of a queen follow the queen with all respect and obeisances. Similarly, the joys of religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation follow the devotional service of the Lord. Do you understand what I'm saying? The quote here says that as a personal attendants and maid servants of a queen, follow the queen with all respects and obeisances. Similarly, the joys of religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, liberation follow the difference. When a devotee has a devotional service, all these things will follow. We don't need to have a special effort. As a queen travels, the maid servants will follow, right? Similarly, as a queen of bhakti travels with you, then all these benefits, they all follow. You don't have to chase them to get it. Okay. So dear devotees, just to recap, we are talking about the characteristics of bhakti. There are 6 characteristics of bhakti. What are the 6? Kleshagni, Shubhada. Kleshagni, which is Kleshagni is a thing which will relieve from the material distress. Shubhada, attainment of auspiciousness. Moksha, Lagutakrita, pure devotional service derides even the happiness of liberation, right? And Shudhurlabha, it is rarely achieved. Sandrananda Visheshatma automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. And Sri Krishna Krishna, it attracts, bhakti can attract the Krishna himself directly. Okay. And in the today's section, or in the today's session, we talked about the first 3 of them, which is Kleshagni, means it removes the distress. And we understood what are the causes of distress. Causes of distress is papam, bijam, and avidya. So papam is a sinful action. The sinful action will have 2 types of reactions, prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha is which we are currently experiencing. Aprarabdha is which we are going to experience. And we understood the life cycle of the sinful reactions. And we understood it's very hard to get out of this. Even though many other activities, auspicious activities like donations and doing austerities and vratas and all those things will eliminate the prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha and aprarabdha reactions, but they cannot eliminate the bijam, and the bijam can only be eliminated by bhakti. So that is why Klesha Agni is very important, and that is the first characteristics of bhakti. The moment you enter into the bhakti, the Klesha Agni will appear. The Klesha Agni will be there. Okay, that's first point. And first characteristics. The second characteristics we talked about is Shubhada. It is attainment of auspiciousness. In the attainment of auspiciousness, we talked about 3 types of auspiciousness which people follow. The auspiciousness or the happiness which people enjoy by giving it to each and every living entity, and they get the attraction from that land. They get satisfied from there. And the second one is being all auspicious. And the third one is having happiness and self-contented. Okay, that is third one. We talked about it, and we talked about it. And the third characteristics of bhakti is moksha laguta krita. So we talked about moksha laguta krita. The aspiration for liberation will become trivial or very small. You don't. It doesn't. It's petty. You feel that aspiration is petty himself, because bhakti can give much better rewards than the liberation. And as we saw the example, as a queen travels or walks through the corridors of the kingdom or the palace, the other maid servants and other servants of the queen will follow her. Similarly, when a devotee with bhakti or a queen of bhakti travels, all these extracurricular all these benefits will follow the queen of bhakti. So we don't have to chase them separately, just follow the bhakti. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to me attentively. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please share your reflections if you have any.
So, Prabhuji, just a question. You said bhakti can remove that kutam beej, that proclivity, through kleshagni, right? Or kleshagni will remove just the manifested path. What about the proclivity? That will also, and under that category, it will come, right?
Everything. Yeah, you're right. So all this cycle itself is burned away. Basically, the kutam. I specified on that bijam part. Bijam is impossible to take out. Right, bijam is impossible to take out from the regular activities we perform. Like, let's say if you donate something, you get something, and you get like, let's say for example, there are so many what do you call it? Um, so many solutions for the issues, right? For example, if someone is manglik, and that manglik person, what they do is they go and because it's a prarabdha, that's a birth, that's a sinful reaction she is going through or he is going through. So what they do is, like, they get married to a banyan tree or some tree, so that klesha, that prarabdha is removed. You know what I mean? So by performing such activities, we have solution for everything, like, but the solution to take out the bijam is not there, and I stressed upon it. But in reality, the kleshagni will remove everything. Kleshagni means basically your like bhakti can remove all this cycle. Whole cycle is burned away. If there is no bijam, what it's a cycle, right? It stops at bijam right there. Basically, it starts from avidya also. When there is avidya, there is a big problem. There is ignorance. If the child is, let's say there is a child, the child is avidya means he is ignorant. He doesn't differentiate between the fire and water or a light or like whatever it is. So he doesn't know what is the implications of touching a fire. So he develops a desire, that is avidya. So he develops a desire. That desire is bijam, to touch the fire. So this boy will go and touch the fire, and he gets that he performs that activity of touching the fire. So he gets the reaction of burning, and with that burning he gets a distress. Okay, so in a similar way, there is a cycle. It keeps going. That cycle keeps going here, but there must be some stop. The desire has to be stopped. The desire will be stopped by performing the bhakti, and by performing the bhakti, when the desire is stopped, the cycle will block. The cycle will be stopped right there, and everything else will fall in place. Everything will burn away.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. I thought that proclivity can come under two categories. One is Kleshagni and Shubhada. Both it's auspicious, so that proclivity will also go away. So it can come under both.
Yes, Mataji. Proclivity will go away for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everything, all the parts will go away basically with the bhakti. When you perform a bhakti, the kleshagni, the cycle of these sinful reactions will go away.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
There are proofs for it, Mataji. I have verses also, but if you want, I'll share it later.
So, Prabhu, you referred the Bhagavatam's 11 cantos, Uddhava and Bhagavan
Yes.
Krishna's conversation. Can you share that verse number and everything?
Okay.
Yes.
I can find that for you. Yeah, I'll do that, Prabhuji. I have it with you in the note.
Another question, Prabhu, that related to bhakti actually prominent to the related to the juga, or everywhere is a bhakti. I mean that in Dapur Juga also there is a bhakti, and Satya Juga also there is a bhakti. And this time, this is the Kali Yuga. This bhakti is prominent. I think that what do you think about that? Means I'm maybe I am not putting the right things in front of you, but my question is that this bhakti, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhakti, and this type of descriptions, we did not get any other juga, any other things, any other juga. So I'm on to know about it, want to know more about it. So what do you think about it?
Good question, Prabhuji. Bhakti is there every time, okay, but it has to be stressed in Kali Yuga because people get sumanda mandabadiyo, right? So basically, we have forgetfulness, a lot of forgetfulness, and that's why it has to be repeated again and again and again. And Krishna makes it very easy. Like because of the situation, because of the circumstance, he understands that we cannot even remember, we can't even chant a verse. So that's why he makes it very easy for this in the Kali Yuga. That's right, it's very easy in Kali Yuga. Like there are different things, right? If you see, demigods also aspire to come down as a human being to experience bhakti, because even though they have the luxuries of life, comforts of life, in demigods world, but they cannot go to bhakti. That's why they aspire to come as human beings. In the human beings also, in the Kali Yuga, as you said, the chances of getting back to Krishna, or chances of getting attracted to bhakti, are much more, because the system is so easy. They made it so very easily. But in the previous yugas, as you said, they also had bhakti, but they used to perform in multiple ways. Navata bhakti, right? There are different ways of bhakti. So someone was servitude, someone was doing, like, if you go back to the history and examples, you can see, like in Dwapar Yuga, we see in Treta Yuga, they used to pray to Ramachandra, right? So there are in Kali, in Satya Yuga, Prahlad Maharaj showed the bhakti, right? He showed such a epitome of examples. We have Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj in Satya Yuga, right? So this bhakti is every time is there, but the achievement of bhakti, are the rules of bhakti are like mended or made less in Kali Yuga, just to suit to the living beings in this age. Krishna is merciful. What is he going to lose by taking some extra people back to Godhead, right? He's not going to lose anything. It is his kingdom. So he reduced the rules or the laws or the specifications. Think about that. In Satya Yuga, if you think about something bad, also it's a sin. Thinking is also sin, but that has been removed in Kali Yuga. They said no, just erase. Now, thinking, if you perform wrong active thinking, like if you think bad things, but if you don't perform, there is no sin on that. So that is the level of that is how much Krishna has reduced the sins to. So I mean, he took out so many rules and regulations basically.
Okay, well, thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam. And Prabhu, you already mentioned that bhakti means other things will come along with that. It means you told that queens is working, that mean behind the queen.
That's
Girls
Srila
basically.
Prabhupada, yeah, that's Srila Prabhupada's example.
Yes, so that means you are meaning that various type of mukti will come with that, or you are talking about that and other things means you are, can you little bit explain? Maybe I missed that point.
So what is your question, Prabhuji? I'm sorry, I was distracted. Okay, so you were
No,
saying, yeah, uh, bhakti is a queen and everything else follows with bhakti. Then what's the
yes.
question?
The question of everything is follows means you are talking about that various type of mukti already will be there.
Yes,
Talk.
liberation and all the, basically what does mean by liberation? All the enjoyments what you get, right? Everything is already covered there. In bhakti, it all covers. It looks like, what is it? Kind of stuff.
Oh,
You don't even look at that. But you are getting a diamond, and why would you look for a pieces of glass, broken glass? That is the thing.
okay, okay,
That is all covered, basically. You know what I mean? All you're taken care.
okay.
That's what it is.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Okay. All right. So 8:20. Semester Prabhu, over to you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. So nicely explained about the benefits of your devotional services. And Yeah, that's a proper understanding, and that's a deep understanding of the bhakti, how we are suffering in this world, what prevents us to become more devotee and more devotional, what is the goal of human life, where we want to reach, we want to get into. That's the ultimate goal, ultimate aim is the bhakti. It's not, it's not that easy that one can come to that. So Proji was very nicely explaining that. Thank you so much. So we'll continue the next three benefits of that. It's mentioned that when a person in the sadhana or sadhakas, or sadhana bhakti, the first two aspects of the klesha and subhada will be there. And then a person further progress more when it comes to the bhava stage. So he comes to that moksha and what is that? Yeah, the liberation and one more. Then he comes to the stage of prema, and then it says that one comes to the Sandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. So forgot one in the middle. So this is the way it goes. So we covered pretty much what a sadhaka can do, what it goes back further to the raga and the bhava, then where one can reach up to. And also now we will see that one comes to that the stage of prema, then what is the benefit of benefit one can get. It's very powerful. And this is that science of devotion. It's not that also this is nectar of devotion, as it says that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rasamrita is nectar of devotion, as well as it also gives us the science of devotion. Srila Prabhupada put in such a way that very systematically structured, comprised this entire Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so that we all can understand very clearly and purely. So thank you so much. Please continue. And this is a very deep subject matter of devotion. What kind of devotion, how many types of devotion, and where we can reach, where we start from, how we can achieve, how we go further, and what are the drawbacks and fallbacks, and so many things it's explained in this book. So thank you so much. Please join every day and just go more and more deeper into it, and so that we can clearly understand what we need to do in this life, in this human form of life especially. Okay, thank you. Let's conclude with that note. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Raviraj Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. The Gaudi Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Gauri Premanande Hari Hari. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hari Krishna.
Excellent class, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Excellent class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.